Welcome into the Athletes Insights podcast. I'm your host, Yash. I'm here with the Illinois State Redbird baseball player, Shaydon Kubo. Shaydon, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm good. I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, yeah, no worries. No worries. Um, so, again, like I mentioned, Shaydon plays baseball, so we'll kind of delve deeper into kind of your journey within baseball, and how you've gotten to the point where you're at. And so let's go back to the beginning here, Shaydon. When did you first start playing baseball? Kind of what drew you to the sport of baseball versus say basketball or football or other sports like that?
I would say it started when I was like either like 4 or 5. I mean, it's something that I guess was just I guess my dad kind of had an influence on, and
Mm-hmm.
he kind of pushed that on me a little bit. But I mean, I'm glad he did so. I mean, it's gotten me to like numerous amount of places. Like it's given me an unbelievable amount of opportunities, and yeah, it's just something he we did from an early age, and it's just something I've kind of stuck with over the years.
Nice. And was baseball, were you laser focused on baseball from the beginning? Did you play any other sports when you were younger?
Um, I did. I think I did like flag football for like maybe like a season, and then
Okay.
a little bit of like maybe like soccer when we were real young. But
Mhm.
yeah, we did. Baseball was kind of the main focus, and then in high school we kind of did we did paddling um for my high school, paddling and
Hmm.
bowling, just so like we could make that PE credit up. So
Yeah.
if we took like 3 sports, we wouldn't have to do any sort of like PE as a class. So those are some things we did.
Okay.
But baseball was pretty much the main focus.
Yeah. Growing up, junior or growing up as a junior out in Hawaii, playing baseball, and like you said, you get into the high school realm, and high school baseball, and then kind of talk about your experience in the recruiting process, going through the college recruiting process as you're in high school, you're going through, or you're getting, I'm assuming you're getting calls and recruiting letters and stuff like that. So kind of talk about that process, that transition from high school baseball to college.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, in high school, I really was like not recruited at all, truthfully.
Okay.
Northern Colorado was actually like my only offer.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Iwasaki was from Hawaii at that time. Coach Iwasaki was from Hawaii, and he had a family back home, so they kind of pushed me in that direction in a way. And then one day he just contacted me out of the blue and was like, "Hey, like we're interested. Like, we're gonna give you a walk-on spot." And I was like, "Sure, let's do it." Because like at the time, like I wasn't being talked to by anybody, and like it was
Mm-hmm.
like Division 1 college. So I was like, okay. So I was pretty stoked. So I was like, let's just do it.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, like let's just do that. And then that was like that was in the summer going into my senior year.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I mean, I kind of talked it over with my family like a little bit for like probably like a day, and I was like, I'm not getting anything else. Like, let's just go for it and just see what happens. And they were like, okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
that was the process, really. I mean, it was just a phone call on a random day, and he was like, hey, we'd like to have you. And then
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, let's just do it right there.
And talk about you come to Northern Colorado, you come to UNC. Talk about your experience at UNC on the team through with Coach Iwa, which we both know very well.
Mhm.
And so kind of talk about your experience at UNC.
My experience at UNC was great. I have nothing bad to say about it at all. I mean,
Hmm.
from the get-go, I mean, it was a good time. We lived in South Hall with one other roommate, and it was just a good time. The community was great. All the other sports were amazing to be around, and everyone was kind of very close. And it was just a great atmosphere. I mean, I'm still really close with a lot of those guys that are still currently on the team,
Hmm.
and honestly, it was a fun time. Playing baseball with some of the close friends that you have, and it was a good time. I had a lot of fun there.
Hmm. And is there any specific kind of lesson or kind of something that you can take away baseball wise from your time at UNC? Something that you learned, something that you can take away.
I feel like something that I learned and can take away from it is that college baseball isn't easy. Baseball in general is just not easy. I mean, you're gonna fail more times than you succeed all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that last season that I was there, at one point I was hitting like 110 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And like baseball is like an up and down sport. I mean, you can't get too high, you can't get too low, and I mean, you just got to know that you're gonna fail along the way, and you're also gonna succeed. You're also gonna have high points, but just to keep a level head and not to get too high or too low, and in the end, it'll all work out for you.
Mm-hmm. And then you leave UNC, you transfer to Illinois State now. Talk about and then kind of talk about that transition from the the team and the team dynamic at UNC versus kind of how the dynamic was last season for you at ISU.
Yeah, so I mean, when I decided to transfer, I was gonna actually play summer ball in the Northwoods with the Waterloo Bucks.
Okay.
So I was out there for the whole like recruiting process while I was in the portal and everything, and it was kind of a scary process. I mean, you really don't know if like who's going to contact you, who's going to reach out. Like, I mean, if anybody's going to even reach out. And
Mm,
luckily, I had a decent amount of schools reach out, and I ended up at Illinois State. I thought that was the best fit. But
mm,
yeah, comparing Northern Colorado's team to Illinois State's team, I feel like at the time, or still currently, I was a little bit closer with some of the guys at Colorado, given that's just because I started out there and, those are guys I built relationships for like a number amount of years. But
for
I'm
sure.
also really close with some of the guys at Illinois State now, even just after 1 year. I mean, it's been a great time. I feel like this past year I was a lot more, I mean, I would say focused, maybe too much focused. Like I was kind of pushing the issue like to be like really good, and I feel like that kind of hurt me in the back end. So I mean,
Mm,
this coming year should be a little bit better. I'm a little bit more comfortable with how things work, how the coaches are, how the
mm,
program functions. So um, no, yeah, I mean it's been a good time so far.
yeah. And you've been, I mean, we've been talking about your the entirety of your baseball journey here, from youth to high school to UNC to now Illinois State, where it's led you, and where baseball has taken you throughout the years. And so what you talked about how you fail a lot more times than you succeed, but can you name any specific challenges you've had as a baseball player with throughout your career?
Um, I feel like yeah, I mean, my freshman year obviously is like kind of get thrown right into the fire. I mean, like
Yeah.
we opened up at Texas Tech my freshman year. I made like 3 or 4 errors to start the year, and I'm just like, and you have Texas Tech fans just heckling you, and it's kind of like mentally like, okay, like this is a real deal. Like here we
Yeah.
go. You have to be mentally like tough and ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Even like physically. I mean, you got guys throwing 92 to 94 now. Like it's a big step up. I mean, you kind
Yeah.
of physically got to prepare there and just be ready for it all. I mean, college baseball is like a whole different animal, but I mean, I'm also like as like the years go on, I'm kind of getting older. The body's starting to get a little older as well, so I'm kind of battling with some like wrist injuries, feet injuries, just like
Mm-hmm.
it's been kind of tough to manage those injuries, and those are injuries that I've had or wrist injuries that I've had at Northern Colorado for like a couple of years now. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's kind of intensifying more and more as your body gets older and you get older. So
Yeah.
there's some challenges that I feel like I've been dealing with, but it's been nothing too crazy. I've been grateful.
For sure, for sure. And injuries are part of the game. Any
Yep.
game
Hmm.
that you play, injuries are play a part of it.
Yep.
So, that's there. But we talked about kind of the challenges. You mentioned your injuries and kind of the low points. I want to kind of transition into kind of your memorable moments. You've again, like I said, you've said such a large part of your life that where baseball has played a key role, large career so far, and spanning from Hawaii to Colorado to Illinois now. And so transition into kind of that section of kind of what are your most memorable wins, moments, whatever maybe, what's the most memorable thing, baseball related, that you've experienced so far in your life?
I mean, of course, there's those like high highs where you're doing well, you're hitting really well, you're hitting home runs, and
Mm,
you're having those like high hit games and
yeah,
like player of the week and like all these different things and like first team, and those are of course high highs. I mean, like those
yeah,
are what you work for and all that. But I mean, of course, like you also work for those like big victories, you know? I mean,
yeah,
this past year we beat a lot of pretty good teams. Like we beat Iowa, we beat Illinois, we had a pretty close game against Arkansas. Like just going to like these different places and playing these like highly ranked teams, it's like and sometimes beating them, it's like it's rewarding, I would
yeah,
say.
yeah,
I mean, you
yeah,
don't really you come into those games really thinking like we're not favored to win, right? But I mean, to come out and see the team go ahead and like just embrace the challenge and
mm.
come out on top, it's like it's fun. I mean,
It,
those are your high highs. Just
yeah,
hard work paying off.
for sure, for sure. And you kind of mentioned, and baseball is truly a team sport, team
Hmm.
game.
Hmm.
But is there any individual, and you mentioned those team highs there, is there any individual highs that you've experienced, any memorable moments as individually, um, that you've experienced, whether it's you hit a game winning home run, or whatever it may be, but anything individually that you've experienced that you thought that was your most memorable moment so far in your baseball career?
I would have to say like maybe even just player of the week and like becoming like first team all conference. I mean, that
Okay.
those were like pretty like memorable moments. I mean, there's some good guys in the Summit Conference that I was actually very surprised to have made first team all conference. But I mean, those were some key moments. I mean, you have your like two home run games and like five hit games,
Yeah,
and those are have to be pretty memorable moments, I would say.
for sure, for sure. And so I want to kind of transition into, your goals and kind of your future, and kind of what I always try to end the podcast kind of talking about, how you can mentor young people, what advice you might have for young people. So we'll kind of transition into that, that side of things. And so speaking of your goals and kind of what goals you have, what goals do you have now for your future? You say you're in Hawaii now. What goals do you have for your future, in terms of baseball, and what do you see?
In terms of baseball, I mean, I hope like maybe I would get noticed a little bit more next year, but I mean, I'm also being a little bit realistic with myself, like not the biggest of the bunch, but yeah, I mean, I hope just to have another good year next year. I mean, just to finally like wrap up my career, and then if I do get any note calls or noticed at all, I mean,
Mhm.
that's just the cherry on top. Like that'd be just a plus. But I mean, right now, I mean, I'm home for a little bit. I've been working out a lot, and there's I decided to start doing some like lessons a little bit for some like younger guys,
Yeah.
and that's been kind of fun. I mean, it's just fun to help out and teach like the upcoming generations like what I'm learning currently and like what I've learned in college and like all these like different things along the road. And it's kind of been a good time just teaching them and seeing them like develop over the weeks, and
Hmm.
it's kind of been paying off and rewarding for me as well as it is for them as well.
Hmm. For sure, for sure. And you kind of led right into kind of what I was going to talk about next in terms of young mentoring, young individuals in the sport, and you already mentioned that you kind of do that, currently. And so, wanted to kind of talk about how you, approach your specific, game, and what skills or what approach do you think is needed, or what would you tell a young person trying to, get into baseball, whether it's they're at the high school level, youth level, trying to come up to high school, or high school coming into college. What would you tell a young, person trying to get into baseball, how they should approach the game, and what skills they should really hone in on?
I feel like I would tell them like it's a game where you're gonna fail,
Mm-hmm.
truthfully. I mean, I would give it. I want them to know that off the bat because it's just like you come into the game like you see all these guys having success, but you also don't really see them having them like low lows. Like I want them to know that you're going to fail, and it's a life lesson. It's good stuff to learn. I mean,
Hmm.
you're gonna fail, but also embrace it because like those are the moments where you learn the most out of yourself and you learn the most of out of your skills that you have. And I feel like it's something that some kids need to learn from a young age. I mean, some people get discouraged early on, but like if you keep pushing through that, like you're gonna have high highs as well. So I
Hmm.
feel like another thing is to like get in the weight room or get with an athletic trainer. Like back here, I have Clayton Uechi at CUSC, and
Hmm.
he's been my guy since like seventh, eighth grade, and that's been the guy I've been going to. I mean, he specializes in baseball specific activities, and
Yeah.
it's just been my place to go to. I mean,
Hmm.
he specializes in arm care, weight training, conditioning, like all these different things that have kept me healthy and strong throughout these years. And I would tell him to get into the gym and also just like know like your body and know your limitations. Like it's not about lifting all the weight in the world or
Hmm.
just getting strong all the time. Like you also got to work on your baseball side, whether that's like hitting every day or throwing every day or ground balls or something like that.
Yeah.
Like those are something you need to incorporate every day. And I feel like those are the things. Also to just be mentally tough. I mean,
Yeah.
game is kind of cruel. Just just be mentally tough and know that it's gonna be okay in the end. Like
Hmm.
it's a kid's game. Like, have fun out there. I mean, I'd say having fun is a major thing that all kids should have.
Yeah.
Also, going to a college that like you're wanted and that you'll play at is kind of a
Mhm.
big thing for me right now. I mean,
Yeah.
you have all these kids kind of committing to bigger D1s and bigger schools, but I also tell them like hey, like make sure you're wanted there and make sure like you'll play there. I mean, if that's your goal, like kind of sit down and be realistic with yourself. Like,
Hmm.
there's no way I could go to a school like Vanderbilt or something like that. Like, I know that. Like, I feel like
Hmm.
they need to just be realistic with themselves and know like their limitations, and that
Yeah.
way, they'll be happy.
Hmm. And it's great you bring that up. Like happiness is a key. I'm a big believer in that too. Like happiness is a key part of whether you're going to be successful in what you do or what you not do. So, again, great advice there in terms of like I also like how you said like knowing the limitations of what you can do versus what you can't do. A lot
Absolutely.
of people I've met, a lot of young people, they live in sort of this dream kind of
Yep.
world, and you got to bring them into reality. So
Yep.
yeah, appreciate you bringing that up as well. So,
Of course.
Shaydon, thank you. Is there anything else you want to add regarding your career? Uh,
No, nothing. I appreciate you having me on. I
yeah,
do.
no,
I
I
really
appreciate
appreciate
you
it.
for coming on, man. But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.